Hey, this is Tellman and decided to make this little video for you here today. It is called Outrageous Goals. Okay, let me explain why. I just got back from a Dan Sullivan workshop, and Dan Sullivan runs a company called Strategic Coach that I've been a member of for a few months now, and I've been learning about running my business on a higher level and doing some really cool stuff. And what ended up happening was really interesting. One of the exercises that I had to do was called Discovering Your Unique Ability. And so I sent this email out to about 50 people. Sent it out to 15 employees and contractors that are in my company or associated with my company. And I also sent it out to a whole bunch of internet guys and business folks who I do a lot of business with, basically saying, hey, in your opinion, what's my unique ability? What's the one thing that I'm really good at? And I got a bunch of really interesting feedback from people, but at the end of the day, I got all this feedback, got all these emails back, and it boiled down to one simple thing. But the one simple thing, it turns out, is a absolutely critical element in getting people to follow you, getting people to band together and work with you on a project. And this can be very helpful in many different ways. It's the ultimate way to get any affiliates to promote you. It's the way that you get other people who have abilities and skill sets that you may not have to get behind you and to work with you. For example, if you're not a tech person and you need a tech person but you don't have any money and to pay them, but you need their skill set to work for you, well, how are you going to make that happen? Or if you don't know how to write any copy, how can you get a good copywriter to work with you, even though you might not have a ton of cash flow to pay them, $400 a week or $1,000 a week or whatever it is? And I found that there's one way to get people to rally behind you and work with you on projects, to work with you on various things that you may not have the cash flow to utilize them effectively with. And that one thing came down to a part of my unique ability that I discovered from Dan Sullivan. I'd like to share that with you today because I found that one ability has allowed me to build a multi-million-dollar company, even though I started as a one-man operation with $50 and a crappy computer just 3.5 years ago. So here's how it worked. My unique ability, and I'd be very interested in finding out yours too, is my unique ability was to how did we word it? Was to set outrageous goals and rapidly inspire other people to immediately and tenaciously implement strategies to achieve those goals. Translation is basically I set really big freaking goals and get other people jacked up to help me accomplish them, and that's really what it comes down to. And there's one way that I've discovered that really makes this work. And the first time that I saw a financial, tangible evidence of this working was with a project that I did a few years ago. It's what I really started with. It really made me money and what built me a list and got me going. It was called List Crusade. And List Crusade was where I got all these people. I got Brian Tracy, I got Jay Abraham, I got Dr. Joe Vitale from The Secret, I got Mark Victor Hansen, I got Jack Canfield, I got Sean Casey, I got Nitro Marketing, I got Joshua Schaffer, and I got all these brilliant marketers, both in the self-improvement arenas and in the internet marketing and direct response worlds, to be part of an interview series that I did. It was called List Crusade. And I set this incredibly outrageous and audacious goal. Some call it the B-Hag, right? The big, hairy, audacious goal. And I think I'm going to change the name of this video to B-Hag. And so, sorry about that. Anyway, here's the point, is that I set this really big, hairy, audacious goal, the B-Hag, of growing and building a list of 1 million subscribers in 6 months or less. Now, huge goal. And I found something very interesting. What I found was that, what I found was, it was really cool. What I found was that when you set huge goals, there are certain people that will not work with you, and other people that will get excited to work with you. But here's the coolest part about this, is when you set big, hairy, audacious goals, what ends up happening is high-level players get excited about working with you. And people who are slackers, people who are limited thinkers, won't work with you. It's a filtering mechanism for awesomeness. Okay, it's a filtering mechanism that allows you to only work with extraordinary, truly extraordinary people by design. And so when people ask, Tellman, how did you reach such high levels of success so quickly? It was because I was willing to set a goal that was larger than the goals of many of the people that I wanted to work with, so that they became inspired to rally behind me and work with me to make all of this happen. Now, when I interviewed T. Harv Eker for my interview series, he told me something very interesting. He was like, Tellman, you know, the biggest thing that you can think of is when you decide how much money you want to make, when you decide on the target that you want to set, and you want, you know, to really make something amazing happen, multiply it by 10. Multiply whatever goal you have by 10. And that's the one thing that's going to allow you to pop up. And when he verbalized that, I realized what I was doing. I realized what was already working. And that's really what it came down to, is setting an absolutely hugely powerful goal. I've recently had the same experience. I set another huge goal recently to run across the country, to run literally from coast to coast, from ocean to ocean. And it's called Run, Tellman, Run. But the reason for this is I'm going to be raising $100 million for teenage homelessness. When I started telling people about this, I didn't have to ask anyone to help. People just lined up in order to help me, asking me how they could help. And I had many people that are limited in their thinking, okay, that worry about, well, what happens if you don't raise $100 million? I'm like, dude, if I raise $5 million for teenage homelessness, $5 million, 5% of my goal, who's really going to give me a hard time? Really? Nobody. See, that's how you get amazing people to work with you. That's how you get huge affiliate partners to promote for you. That's how you make amazingly powerful and wonderful things happen, by setting huge, huge, huge freaking goals. Whatever your idea is for your business right now, whatever you're trying to accomplish, I would recommend that you follow T. Harv Eker's advice of multiplying it by 10. Set a goal that makes you feel completely nervous. I know that I recently set one for a project that I'm working on in my business. You're going to be finding out about it in a few days. That is such a big, huge, crazy thing. It literally makes my heart thump and the adrenaline start pumping. When I told Kyle Battis, my marketing manager, about it, he almost fell over and died. He got shortness of breath. He was like, Tellman, this really makes me nervous. I don't know if we should do this. I'm not making this up. This is completely serious. And that is the guiding light. That is the light at the end of the tunnel that guides me in my actions and my business. Is if it doesn't make me nervous, it's probably not worth doing. So my biggest advice to you that you can immediately take to the bank in your project, if you're having a hard time finding people to work with you on a project, to get their skill sets involved in what you're doing, or if you're having a hard time getting people to promote what you're doing, I recommend that you step it up a notch, a big notch, way outside of your comfort zone, so that not only do you have to think bigger, but everyone around you naturally wants to think bigger, and they get behind you because they know you are a true leader and someone truly extraordinary. So what I want you to do now is that if you're not at FromTellman.com, go and opt in just to the right at FromTellman.com. I'm going to give you a bunch of really great video training. I'm going to give you a bunch of amazing information and more videos just like this to help you grow your business. This is Tellman Knudsen, over and out.